This time we're going to do the Buick Transmission Gasket. Not to be confused with the Buick Rear Transmission Gasket, which is directly below it and a much more difficult and confusing drawing. One of the things we're also going to do is we're going to introduce the adjustable triangle today. So first off, what I'd like to do is I'd like to point out some of the features that we've got here. Everything is in decimals, so you're going to have to convert to fractions. But there are also angles in here which you'll use the adjustable triangle on. And there are some radii that you're going to have to deal with, and you're going to do some conversion pieces. So the conversions are going to be interesting from the standpoint that they're not the usual, 0.25, 0.75 that convert to a quarter and 3/4. You're going to have 0.84, which actually comes out to something like 27, 30 seconds or something, but you'll be able to use either 13/16 or 3 or 7/8. Remember being within a 1/16 of an inch. You've got a radius here that, you've got to construct out here, which is 0.66. 5/8 will be fine, which is the same for the 0.62. It will still work. Corners are done right here. You see it's a 1/2 inch radius from the center of this little circle, and these little circles, they're aligned horizontally, but vertically they are not aligned. So you're going to have to deal with that issue. So you're not going to end up with a square that has 4 equidistant circles in it. Also, you have this large circle which is 3 1/8, which we don't have a circle template for, so you're going to have to use the compass. The compass will be set up, remember, to cut 3 1/8 and a half, which would be, it would be 1.5 inches plus a 1/16. That would make it 1 9/16 inches. You also have a very small radius of 0.06. This one you can just pencil in when you make these two lines come together. You can just pencil that in. Alright, so you can have a brief look at it. You'll have a sheet that you can work from. Excuse me. Now I'm going to zoom out so that we can start work on the drawing. Again, our pencil is in here to keep it in focus as I bring it down to size. I'm going to have to move it over here because I actually didn't check the center of the paper where I put it. I actually put it over a 1/2 inch. Our T-square is bumped up. We're ready to start. I'm going to do the center circle first. It's 3 1/8. Remember I said 3 1/8. You cut an 1/8 in half, that's a 1/16. That's one space on the English ruler that we're using. And 3 cut in half is 1 1/2, so 1 1/2 plus a 1/16 would be 1 9/16. So that's one space past the 1.5 inch mark on the ruler. I've already found the center and erased. I've drawn a vertical and horizontal center line. Those are important from the standpoint that we're going to use them to figure out, oops, come on, we're going to use that to figure out where the small circles are located, because they're all going to be offset slightly. I'm having a heck of a time here. Alright, there we go. Alright, there's our 3 1/8 inch diameter circle. Alright, what we are going to do, we're going to locate the 4 small circles. The circles, what it says on the drawing is it says 4 times a diameter of 0.44. Now, when we look at 0.44 on our decimal conversion chart, it's pretty close to 7/16 of an inch. So we're going to be drawing 4 7/16 of an inch diameter circles. Our measurement going from the center line up is 1.81 inches. When we convert that equals 1 13/16. So I'm just going to measure over here, trying to get it as straight as possible, 1 13/16, which is 3 spaces back from 2. Our next measurement is 2 1/8 down below. So from our center line, I'm going to go 2 1/8. I'm going to make a mark at 0. I'm going to take my T-square at this point, and I'm going to just draw a nice light construction line to show where the horizontal centers for each of those circles is going to be, and then the corner radii for the corners we're actually going to make here. Next, our distance from this center out for this circle along this line is 2 1/4 inches. So I'm going to line up at 0 along the line, and at 2 1/4 inches I'm going to make a mark. That is our mark for our small circle and our corner. I'm just going to draw a small center line on, because there are some more marks on here that I don't want to become confused by, and I recommend that you do that first, then that way you don't get goofed up. Now we're going back to 0.81 again, because our bottom circle is going to be 1 13/16 over from the vertical center line. So I'm lining up here, there's 1, and 3 spaces less than 2 is going to be 13. Again, I'm going to take the time to square up my T-square, and I'm going to make a vertical center through there. Next, this one is 1 3/4. That's pretty easy. I'm going to put 1 3/4 at the vertical center and make a mark at 0. There's no other mark, so I'm not going to use that. And then the last one is 1.56. Well, 1.56 is actually 1 9/16. So it'll be 1 inch and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 spaces. I'm going to make a mark right here. And now I'm going to draw my verticals through there. Notice they're off by just a slight amount. Next, I'm going to go with 0.44. That's our diameters of our 4 circles. Now, a transmission gasket is something that's made out of can be made out of synthetic material, like that's kind of like rubber-like or cork-like. And they used to use cork, but they don't use that anymore. And it's used to keep fluids inside of a transmission. That's what a Buick Transmission Gasket is, for Buick automobile. And this is a drawing that was done a long time ago. So I doubt that there's any Buicks around that have this particular type of gasket in it, although there probably are some. So the 0.44 diameter hole actually comes out to 7/16. And I'm going to do each of those 4 right now. And I hope you're following along either in the book or on the photocopied paper, so that you see where the dimensions are that you're actually looking at. Alright, now on our corners we have a 1/2 inch radius. When we have a 1/2 inch radius, we double that for a diameter, so we can make a 1 inch diameter circle to give ourselves our corner. And when I say that you're going to make a 90-degree corner, or 90 degrees of a circle, it means you're going to go from here down to there, like 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. There's one corner. The next one, we're going to be going from 3 to 6. 3 to 6. And then over here, we're going from 6 to 9. 90 degrees, because remember, a circle is 360 degrees. Half is 180. Next, we're going to do our 9 to midnight. 9 to midnight. At this point, we can just take a straight edge, and I'm actually going to just use the circle template again, because we can. I'm going to connect the ends of those, because they're on the same plane from the center. Same with these. These are also on the same plane. And just in case something's off by a slight amount, which it looks like it actually is. How did I goof that up? Did I? Nope. It's just an optical illusion, I guess. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to take my triangle. I'm going to drop this down here to about there. At this point, now we have to get out the adjustable triangle, and they're kept in boxes. These are delicate instruments. They've been around for a long time. They break very easily, and you have to be careful with them. Also, the thumb screw here, don't tighten it way down. You just need to have it just tightened enough that it just holds it in place. Otherwise, leave it loose. So we have a 13-degree angle that goes up from this direction and meets this line someplace. So I'm going to set this at 13 degrees. Now the increments are half a degree. So I'm going to be going 2, 4, 6 spaces to get the third longer line there. And there's a magnifier on here with a line so that where you can tell where you are. So right there is 13 degrees. Now if I hold up like this with my T-square, it doesn't work. It's because it works in this direction, works in this direction, works in this direction, and it also works in this direction. So here's our 13-degree angle that starts right here. T-square bumped up, 13 degrees, we draw our line, and that's where it goes to. Nice and easy. We have a part that's like a channel that extends out of here, and it's at a 38-degree angle. So I'm going to set this at 38 degrees. Again, I'm going to place it in this direction. I'm going to find the center of this, and I'm going to just draw a very light construction line out to there. Now, our distance across right here is 0.94. Now, if we're examining our decimal conversion chart, 0.94 is actually 15/16 of an inch. Now, if we have 15/16 of an inch, that's a 16th shy of an inch, which means we're probably going to do around 1/2, and we're going to be just inside the 0 point and just inside the 1 inch point, and that will give us our distance on both sides. So it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Our overall length to the end here is 1.88. Now, 0.88 is actually 7/8. So we're going to go 1 7/8, so that would be 1 inch plus 14 spaces. We'll make a mark there at 0. Now we already used our 38 degree there. Now, to be a right angle to it, we're going to go like this, right here, and there, and draw that angle right there. And then we're going to go here, and we're going to line up with that. We're going to draw that line. Now we have a very small radius here, so we have to erase this tiny little corner right here, and we have to erase that tiny little corner. And I may have drawn it a little bit too dark, but we'll see if I can't get it. Now we have a radius of 0.19. Now when I look at 0.19 on here, I'm looking over at 3/16 of an inch, which half of that would be at 3/32 of an inch. So that's the third little tiny circle, and I'm going to just put that over the corner. Make sure I get rid of the eraser pieces out of there. I don't want them blocking me. And I'm going to arrange it so that I can just touch the lines. And I'm going to scooch the corner in. Again, and the third one over. I'm going to make it so that I can. And there's your cutout. We get rid of this part of the circle. This, of course, would be pieced in as a center line, which again at the same time we would want to make sure that we clear that up and use our adjustable triangle for it. And now this little construction is done. Okay, next. So we've done this, we're all set over here. Now we get into some more complex measurements here. We have a measurement that calls for 0.84 up from, actually, the bottom up, 0.84. And as far as I'm concerned, 0.84 is a measurement that is, it's between 13/16 and 7/8. So it's helpful to draw a very light extension line right there for your measurements, because you're going to need to put it in when you dimension this. And then, whoops, I don't want to be measuring from metric. I'm going to go straight up, and I'm going to try to be as vertical as I possibly can. 7/8 is there, 13/16 is there, so it's somewhere around there is our cutoff point. And what we're doing is we're creating an angle right here that from the vertical is 7 degrees in this direction from up here to here. That's all it is. So I'm going to take the adjustable triangle, I'm going to set it to 7 degrees, and oop, that doesn't work. Well, I'm going to slide it over, get rid of the ruler, and I'm going to go right here. I'm going to take my pencil on this point, I'm going to line it up, and there's my 7 degree line right there. Now, then the next angle it calls for, from this point up to here, calls for 15 degrees. But what we have done here is we've gone 7 degrees to the left of the vertical, and we've got a 15 that comes off of this angle here, which means we're going to go back that way 8 degrees. So I'm going to set up the triangle at 8 degrees, and I'm going to put it down this way because we're going back to the right, and I'm going to draw this line going up that way, so that if you were to carry this line up here and this would be 15 degrees. So it's 7 degrees to the left, 8 degrees to the right, which gives you an overall of 15 degrees. It's confusing, but the math works. Alright, we're going to leave this part right now because we're going to have another 8 degree line coming down here, but we have to create some other measurements here. We have to go up from our horizontal center line 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch is right there. It's 8 spaces, remember that? We go across. There's our construction line that lets us know where it is. And then our measurement from the center, our center out here to where our circle is 3 inches. So I'm going to go back to the vertical center line, and along the line we just made, I'm going to make a mark at 0, and 3 inches is on the center line. Now the diameter of this circle is 3/4 of an inch. And I can use this as a regular triangle also, and I'm going to just use that to draw a vertical center line. Now I'm going to find 3/4. 3/4 is right here. I'm going to line it up here. Draw this circle. Next, we have a 0.62 radius that goes around here. I'm actually going to get rid of this to slow down a little bit of confusion, and I'm going to get rid of this just so we... Now, 0.62 is 5/8 of an inch. Now, if we have 5/8 of an inch, we can set our compass at 5/8, or we can set our we can use a circle template. Now, If we do 5/8 of an inch, and I want to show you some simple math here. If you have 5/8 of an inch and you want to double it, so you're going to go times 2. So when you're doing fractions, the bottom always stays the same. So it's 8 and it'll be 10. And 10 over 8 will reduce to 1 and 2/8, which will equal 1 1/4. So we can draw that radius out here with either 5/8 on the compass, or we can get our handy circle template, find 1 1/4, which is a small diameter circle, and I'm going to have to do it upside down because the tripod leg for the camera is in the way. Again, I'm going to line up our pinholes. I can still see this line here, and I've got those points. And when I do this, it's going to be a half circle right around here to there. That half circle right there. Now we go back. We have an 8-degree line that comes down here. Now, as you can see, I'm having trouble making it. Now I'm going to slide over, and there we go. T-square's bumped up. I'm right at the edge of the table. I didn't quite make it long enough before, but it's still set at 8 degrees for our 15-degree angle right there. I go there. And this one, it's a 0.06 radius. I'm not even going to go there with a compass or a circle template. Just draw it in as a little tiny curve. It looks almost like a comma when you do it. Now that's done. And you can see I didn't do it exactly. The last thing we have to do is we have to create a tangent arc construction. Now, this construction, it says that it's 0.66 radius. So it'll be somewhere out here. Now, I'm going to get rid of these center lines because I don't want to confuse anything at this point. And we know that to find a missing arc here, we have to go from an adjacent feature, and we go 0.66. Now, 0.66 on our compass is going to be just slightly larger than 5/8 of an inch. And the thickness of the lead will throw this off. So I'm going to do it just a tiny bit larger because my lead has gotten a little bit dull. And what I need to do is somewhere on here I have to strike an arc at 0.66. At this point I'm going to go here, and it's going to put it here. And then without resetting, I'm going to do the exact same thing right here. And I'm going to create another measurement arc. Whoops. Now this intersection is not the one we use. We don't use that one. We have to find the tangent arc by going back to the center of our circular feature and then finding the highest location of that measurement arc circle, which is over here. And then on this one we have to find it, and you go and you just gauge where it is, and it's right here, which is slightly different, which puts our point location right there. Then we go to there, put our hard point there. We try to see if we make contact with this point and with this point, and it appears that we do. And we bury our point in our paper. Again, remember, I look for the compass point marks, and I go like this and draw that. And there it is, the Buick Transmission Gasket. Depending on what the instructor wants, you may have to dimension, you may not. But all the little radii have been drawn in. Again, looking for the compass points where they're going to be here, not here and here and here, but you're going to see, you know, and you're not going to see them on the corners here, but this is where you're going to see it. And then use of the circle template and the adjustable triangle. These lines are just not arbitrarily drawn. These are actually done at specific angles, and it shows. And a lot of times people try to fake it by going directly over to here, and they miss the 15, and it's an easy catch for the teacher. We've done this enough. That's an easy grab, and it really lowers your grade substantially with that. So aside from you know what we've done here, and I'm just realizing, sorry that I missed the bottom, but there's really not much to see there. But this is the Buick Transmission Gasket. It's figure 642. Don't confuse it with the Buick Rear Transmission Gasket, which is a much more difficult drawing to do. But that's it. You title block it, border it, dimension if required, and there you go. Thanks for watching, and see your instructor if you have any questions. Take care now.